assistance, less foreign aid, less money wasted so that inflation comes down and your dollar retains power for a change. It is a plan to axe the sales tax on new homes and incentivize municipalities to cut their tax to bring down the cost of buying a house by $100,000, again, for a change. Criminals, so that you're safe on the streets again. On ne peut pas s'offrir une quatrième mandat, il faut que ça change. Avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui a un plan pour faire changement, un plan qui vise à rendre la vie abordable, un plan pour réduire le déficit fédéral de 70%, en éliminant la bureaucratie, les consultants, l'aide à l'étranger et d'autres gaspillages, pour enfin baisser l'inflation. Un plan pour couper les impôts de 15%, pour abolir le TPS sur les maisons neuves, pour que vous puissiez acheter une maison, et un plan pour mettre les criminels derrière des barreaux pour que les communautés canadiennes soient sécuritaires pour faire changement. C'est ça le plan. What is your name? Trinity. You want to come up on the stage? All right. Show everybody what your song says. You know what it says? Can you read that to everybody?
Tax the tax, fix the budget, stop the crime, bring it home.
What was that? Is this your little girl here?
Sure. We're here for the future.
That's why we're all here, isn't it? Is this the little girl? Amazing. She's going to be here giving speeches on stages like this one day. I think we have a future Prime Minister here, don't we? You made us all very proud. Thank you so much. What a brilliant young lady. What a future we have with young people like Trinity. Amazing. What an amazing group we have here of brilliant young people, the next generation. We're ready to already take direction, take the leadership position.
Love you, Pierre!
I love you too. Well, we need you too, and that's why I need to ask a question. Has everybody voted yet? I told you a little bit about our plan for change. Did you hear about the platform that Justin Trudeau released on Saturday? That wasn't a slip-up. Oh no, that was not a slip-up. We found out that Mark Carney's platform was actually written by the Liberal Party for Justin Trudeau before he decided to resign suddenly. And it was just carried over. And then when Mr. Carney became leader, they handed him the platform. They said, okay, this looks good. Control F, replace Trudeau with Carney. And away we go. Right? Now, it's not entirely fair. I don't want to be entirely fair. I'm unfair to the Liberals here. In fact, it's not that Carney's election platform is as bad as Trudeau's, in fairness. It's worse! Carney is proposing in this platform to add $130 billion above and beyond the roughly $110 billion in debt that Trudeau had already budgeted for. So when you add the Trudeau and the Trudeau and Carney plans together, because they stack one on top of the other, A fourth Liberal term would mean $250 billion of extra inflationary debt, which would drive up food prices, home prices, and the cost of living. It would threaten our economy, weaken our people, and make us even more vulnerable to the Americans at this time. My friends, after a lost Liberal decade, we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term. We need a change. Do you have any doubt about how bad things are about to get under the Liberals? You don't have to take my word for it. You only have to ask the department in the government that reports directly to Mark Carney. It's called the Privy Council Department. It's literally the department responsible to the Prime Minister. And quietly, they published a report about what life is going to look like in Canada in 15 years, in the year 2040. And this is what it says, and I'm quoting here. In 2040, upward social mobility is almost unheard of in Canada. Hardly anyone believes that they can build a better life for themselves or their children through their own efforts. And many worry about sliding down the social order. It forecasts more people may struggle to afford rent, bills, or groceries. The resulting stress could worsen mental health challenges. This would increase demand for social services. Then it goes on to talk about housing. In 2040, owning a home is not a realistic goal for many. Inequality between those who rent and those who own has become a key social, economic, and political driver of conflict. Education. It says in 2040, pursuing post-secondary education is no longer considered a reliable path to social mobility. Fewer people choose post-secondary because they see it less as a path to a successful career than a way to reinforce their membership in a so-called elite. That's their words. They say people lose faith in the Canadian project. They say that some of our people will be leaving because it's too difficult to stay in Canada. Again, this is Mark Carney's own government department projecting 15 years hence. It says that many may emigrate to jurisdictions where they perceive upward social mobility and higher standards of living are easier to attain. If workers leave Canada, it may mean it's harder for us to pay for our older population. And finally, the most terrifying warning of all, and again, this comes out of a government report. It's not some sort of an interest group or a shock journalist. It says that food prices may get so expensive, and I'm quoting here, people may start to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands and waterways. This is what the Liberal government says Canada is going to look like in 15 years.
Hard to hunt without a gun.
So, is this the Canada you grew up with?
No!
Do you think that Canadians should just sit back and take this depressing future? Or do you think it's time to have some hope for a change and take back a bright future for our kids? We can turn this thing around. We know the basic values of Canada: hard work, entrepreneurship, living within our means, supporting the less fortunate, protecting our borders, holding criminals accountable. These basic values that built our country over so many generations, the values that guided our parents and grandparents as they built this country, those values are what created the Canadian promise in the first place, that gave everybody the chance to arrive where we are today, that allowed me to stand on the stage starting from humble beginnings. And we're going to use those same Canadian values to rebuild our future. And we believe, everyone in this room believes, in a brighter future for all of us. We know that change is never easy, but making the right decisions can make it worthwhile. And that's why we presented this platform today, because we have hope for this country, and we're ready to bring
Bring it home! Bring it home! Bring it home!
since Mr. Carney became Trudeau's economic advisor, precisely because the government is spending too much. Today, I laid out a detailed plan about how we're going to fix our budget to stop the inflation that is eroding your purchasing power for food and housing. What we're going to do to start with is cut the waste. I announced that we're going to streamline the bureaucracy through attrition. Every time 3 people retire, we're only going to hire 2 back. Over time, we'll reduce the size of the bureaucracy, which reduces the tax bill for the people paying for it. We're spending $20 billion a year on consultants. That works out to $1,400 in taxes for every Canadian family just to fund consultants. But don't worry, the Liberals know there's a problem with it. They said we were going to spend less money on consultants, but to come up with a plan to do that, they hired some consultants. We've got a better idea. Our conservative plan for change will cut the budget for consulting by $10 billion annually. Increasingly send our money abroad. They gave money to the Asian Infrastructure Bank to fund pipelines and roadways in China and across Asia that we can't even get built here in Canada. They gave money to the UN agency that helped Hamas carry out the attacks. We will save money for Canadians $3 billion annually by cutting back foreign aid. We're going to bring a law that requires politicians. Yes, we're going to bring the money home. The money that's gone abroad is going to be coming back home to this country. And we're also going to pass a common sense law, dollar for dollar. Every time the government brings in a new dollar of spending, by law, it will be required to find a dollar of savings. This will force politicians and bureaucrats to make the same trade-offs that you make every single day. This or that, or get a bargain on this and that. Come in under the budget. You can't just print the money, tax the money, or borrow the money. You've been pinching your pennies long enough. It's time for government to start pinching their pennies. Generate additional revenue for our cherished social programs than raising taxes. And it's like growing the economy for a change, right? We need to grow it. We've got our great trade union leaders here today. When they grow themselves, they go out and they add new members by helping create more jobs, right? That's how you guys make everybody better off. Now, we need to do the same thing in Canada. Our economy has been shrinking in per capita terms. It's had the worst economic growth of any G7 country since Carney became Trudeau's economic advisor. Well, we can unlock more growth. Instead of creating more cash, we're going to create more of what cash buys. Grow more food, build more homes, and produce more of our great Canadian resources. That's how we generate the wealth that will fund a prosperous future for us all. It starts by removing the anti-development laws. We will repeal the anti-pipeline law, C-69. We will get rid of the energy cap. We'll bring in shovel-ready zones, areas that are pre-permitted for construction, so that any business that wants to build something can go online, see a pre-published, legally binding permit that says where they can build it and what they have to do to comply. So there's no 17-year-long wait to get a shovel in the ground on a mine. You get busy, you get building, and there's no hiring these workers. We need to approve LNG liquefaction plants. We have 1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas that we could be selling to the Asians so that they can break their dependence on coal, sell it to the Europeans so that they break their dependence on Putin, and we turn dollars for dictators into paychecks. We're going to go from having the second slowest building permits in the OECD to the fastest building permits. We'll cut 25% of red tape in the government, 25% fewer rules and regulations, and we're going to assign the Auditor General to keep count to make sure the red tape doesn't keep creeping back. But we also have to cut taxes on growth. Our plan will cut taxes on energy. For example, we know the Liberals still have the carbon tax in law. In our party, we're going to pass the law to do it instead. Just 28 days before the election, they hid it from the gas pump to make you forget, so that they could trick you into voting them back in for a fourth term, after which they would surely bring the tax back higher than ever. We have a tax on Canadian steel, which will drive, and not just steel, but all Canadian industry that Mark Carney says he wants to raise. That will drive our jobs and our money south of the border. It's funny, another thing that Carney and Trump share in common. Both of them want to tax Canadian industry. Trump with tariffs, Carney with carbon taxes. I want neither. I will tax the entire tax for everyone. Investment is drying out, up and fleeing out of our country. In fact, you know in Canada today, the average worker, if you take all the business investment, you divide it by the total number of workers in Canada, it works out to $15,000 a year. In the U.S., it's $28,000. So the American worker is getting twice as much tools, technology, machines, and factories. The stuff, the physical assets that produce things. That's why the American worker is making more money, even though the Canadian worker is, by every measure, a superior worker, better worker, a smarter worker. Because our businesses are starved of investment. Why would that be? Well, when you raise taxes on investment, you punish people and entrepreneurs. What do? Well, capital goes where capital grows, and it doesn't grow here anymore. That's why we're going to change it. We're going to bring real change. We will pass the Canada First Reinvestment Tax Cut. Zero capital gains tax when you reinvest the money.
Bring it home! 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 Bring it home!
We're going to bring it home. But you know what you need to bring it home? You need to vote. That's but you need to have a home.
That's right.
Right? And right now, we have, thank you very much. Prime Minister, minister means servant. Prime Minister means first servant. It would be my honor to serve every single one. The big philosophical difference between myself and Mr. Carney. He thinks he's the boss. He thinks he's here to run your life. He thinks he knows better than the rest of you. He knows what he thinks he knows how to spend your money better than you do. He thinks he knows what kind of car you should drive. He wants to ban you from driving a gas-powered vehicle.
Nothing and be happy.
His housing plan is to have everybody live in a government-owned, prefabricated, manufactured house. He believes that he should control your money, the direction of everything. I believe precisely the opposite. I'm not running for office to take power, I'm running for office to give it back to all of you. dream of home ownership, something you won't even find in a liberal platform. They never talk about home ownership. You want to own a house back there? Everybody want to own a house back there? They want to own a house.
Yes.
We used to take that for granted in Canada. Yeah, we got some young people back there. Like to start a family, maybe?
They'll give us a cheap apartment these days.
That was the Canadian dream, the Canadian promise that you could enjoy home ownership. But housing costs have actually risen faster in Canada than any other G7 country. In fact, they've outpaced incomes more in Canada than all but one OECD country during the lost Liberal decade. Mr. Carney proposes exactly the same policies as Justin Trudeau. More government programs, government bureaucracy that cost tens of billions of dollars, but don't actually get anything built. He even brought back Justin Trudeau's failed housing minister. How do you imagine that with double housing costs? Carney's plan now is to repeat the same policies with the same Liberal ministers, the same Liberal platform. We need change. Our approach is to tackle the real problem. Now, why are houses so expensive in Canada? The answer is taxes and bureaucracy. In Ontario today, 30% of the cost of a new home is just direct taxes. And that, what's that? Yeah, that's true. That's also very expensive. We'll come to that in a moment. Everything is expensive in Canada, but we're going to stick on houses for a second. In addition to the direct taxes on houses, there's the indirect bureaucracy. We have the second slowest building permits in the OECD. More money for a new home goes to bureaucrats in offices than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the homes. Only conservatives will change it. Our plan is to cut the bureaucracy and the red tape, axe the taxes, and build the homes. And we will lead the way by axing the federal sales tax on new homes to save you This is an area where I will give credit to the city of Vaughan. The municipality here has actually cut construction taxes by 50%. We need to see more of that.
Yes.
I'm very hard on the mayors. I'm very hard on the mayors when they raise taxes to block homes, but we got to give credit where it's due. They cut it here, and I give them credit. And not only that, I will incentivize municipalities here and everywhere to do the same. I will agree to pay half the cost to cut the development taxes across the country with a goal of bringing down the taxes by $100,000 a home. We will incentivize municipalities, requiring them to speed up permits to build 15% more homes per year. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build another 300,000 homes on what is now largely dormant and underused federal land spaces. As I said, we'll cut taxes on reinvesting in home building, but you also need the builders, the people who swing the hammers and frame the homes and lay down the foundation, the people who are make up the great building trades unions we have here. And so we're going to our plan will fund 350,000 union training spots right across this country to train up the carpenters, the welders, the electricians, and countless other people who will literally build the country. We're bringing tax fairness to allow our tradespeople to write off the full cost of their food, transportation, and accommodation to go from one job site to another. We'll bring back the $4,000 apprenticeship grant. And I will be sending are you a father of a future tradesman? Or you're a tradesman? Excellent. Do you agree with what I have to say or not? What's your trade? High-rise construction. Wow. Don't look down on me. You can't get something wrong, eh? Thank you for building the country. You know, I'm going to be saying, what do you think of this idea? I'm going to send a gift to every high school principal in the country. I know. Education is provincial. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't send a present from the Prime Minister's office to the principal's office, right? It's going to be a big box, about the size of the stage, and in it, there's going to be a module for every single licensed trade so that they can begin doing pre-apprenticeships with our young people as early as high school. What's that? Yes, tool making and everything else, shop class. I can't control that part's out of my reach, that's provincial. All the constitutional scholars are going to be yelling at me. But I can send a gift, and we will back the trades, and we will make sure that any young person in this country that wants to get into the trades will be encouraged to do so, and we will tell them that the best jobs in the future are going to be in the trades. Paychecks home to safe neighborhoods so that we're going to stop the crime for a change. Everywhere I go, I meet people who are increasingly violated by repeat offenders, released again and again and again. It doesn't seem like they can be locked up for any reason whatsoever. It doesn't matter how much crime they do. The laws will not let them keep them behind bars.
Jail, not bail! Jail, not bail! Jail, not bail!
To start with, that's C-75, the Liberal Catch and Release Law, which requires the judge, and I'm quoting from the law right now, it says, the judge must release the accused at, quote, the earliest opportunity under, quote, the least onerous conditions. In other words, they have to go right back onto the street, oftentimes before even paperwork is even filled out on their most recent arrest. In Vancouver, they had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. Again and again, they go out. If they had kept those 40 offenders in prison, there would be 6,000 people attacked, violated, hit over the head with a baseball bat. Then there's C5, the liberal law, that allows repeat offenders to do their sentences in the comfort of their living rooms, watching Netflix, or playing Grand Theft Auto, preparing to do it all over again. My friends, we will repeal the Liberal Catch and Release Law. We will pass a 3 strikes, you're outlaw. Very simple. 3 serious offenses. You have no chance for bail, parole, probation, or house arrest. You're going in for 10 years and you won't get out until you behave well, pass drug tests, and learn an employable skill. You're going to stop the crime for change. The drug crisis has been raging out of control. We have lost 50,000 people to drug overdoses. We are going to save our youth together. We're going to protect them against this terrible poison, a poison that is 100 times more powerful than heroin. It is only 2 milligrams that it takes to stop someone's lungs from operating. And what we have, there you go. What was that, young lady?
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
On the playground.
That's everywhere. You're handing it out.
Needles.
This is the life that we have today, but I'm here to tell you to have hope because we're going to turn this thing around.
Yeah.
the parents actually have to walk up and down the soccer pitch in a line to make sure there are no needles or crack pipes before the kids go and play soccer. They can't walk their dogs in a park anymore because the dog might breathe in some of the drug residues that's been left behind. These are almost unimaginable. But we know how to fix, we know why the problem exists. The government has liberalized drugs. They're giving out tax-funded opioids. They've reduced penalties for fentanyl dealers. They've allowed 99% of shipping containers to enter our country without any inspection whatsoever, and they want to continue doing it. Mark Carney will carry on exactly the same soft on crime, easy on drugs policy. But it doesn't have to be this way. Our plan is to treat the mass fentanyl producers and traffickers like the murderers that they are. They will get life sentences.
Jail not bail!
Jail not bail!
Jail not bail!
We're going to secure the borders. Providing scanners. Scanners, 2,000 more frontline CDSA officers, watchtowers that will interrupt the guns, drugs, and stolen cars. And we know that the way that we turn this around is by giving people who are addicted to drugs a chance to cleanse their bodies and restart their lives. Treatment and recovery works. I have seen countless examples of people who have been down and out on the street, on the edge of death, get into treatment, suffer through the difficult period of withdrawal, enjoy counseling, group therapy, physical exercise, yoga, job preparation, housing, back on their feet to take responsibility for their lives.
Bring them back! Bring them back!
50,000 treatment facilities so that we can bring our loved ones home drug-free.
Yes!
And my message when I was in Moncton at the Harvest House Treatment Center to the young men who were there, they said to me, "Thank you for your help." I said, no, I'm not the one offering the help. I'm here asking for help. I'm here to ask you for a favor. I need you. I need you to get better because you're going to go back out onto the street corner. You're going to grab the next guy. You're going to bring him in here, and he's going to get better, and then he's going to go back out and take another person. And we're going to keep that going. We will stop the guns by locking up gun smugglers for life. We will do the same for large-scale human traffickers. And by the way, we will pay for the additional border security that we intend to fund by canceling the wasteful, multi-billion-dollar liberal gun grab that
Protect hunters!
We've got some hunters here. There you go. You know,
I'm not gay, but I love you, Pierre.
Because groceries are getting so expensive, but then they want to take your hunting rifle away. You can't win with these guys. There's no doubt about it, though. Make your message go far and wide. If the Liberals are re-elected, they will ban your hunting rifle. They have said that is their plan. My friends, this is ridiculous. Spending police resources and billions of dollars going after Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle will solve nothing. I want to protect Canadians from criminals. The Liberals want to protect turkeys from hunters. You decide who's got it right.